Mina Nazari, a 34-year-old woman from California, has been arrested and charged and related to the premeditated murder of her 4-year-old daughter, her name Sana Akram, who was stabbed to death inside of the family apartment, Sana's body being found by her father Saturday, October the 14th at around 12:48 p.m. Emergency medical services were of course alerted. They attended the premises, and not only did they find the deceased body of Sana Akram, but they also found her 10-year-old brother, who was found unharmed. However, it is believed that the 34-year-old woman, the mother, Mina Nazari, had indeed attempted to kill the 10-year-old boy. We're not told how, but thankfully he is unharmed. Physically, of course, not emotionally. So as we say, the mother, Mina Nazari, 34 years of age, has been charged with a slew of felonies, including 1 count of murder and 1 count of child A. YouTube doesn't like me using the full term, child A, in relation to the murder of Sana Akram, her 4-year-old daughter. It is believed that this was a planned out attack, premeditated, and again it's also believed that Mina Nazari attempted to murder her own 10-year-old son. We're not told his name, and in relation to that she's been charged with attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and permitting a child to suffer under circumstances likely to cause great bodily harm. So again, thankfully the 10-year-old boy was unharmed physically, but tragically Sana Akram was found by her father Fahim Akram stabbed to death in the family apartments, with the specific address being Crown Ridge Apartments in Scenic Drive, California. I believe in Sacramento, I may have that wrong. So what would drive a mother to do this to her own children? We're not told of a motive. However, we are told that Mina Nazari, the mother, was born in Iran, and we're told that there may be some relevance there. We're told, and I don't know whether or not there's much truth in this, but on face value I assume there is truth within it. We're told that the Iranian culture is such that there's a great deal of reluctance to seek professional mental health assistance, and in addition to that we are told by a family friend that the mother that killed her 4-year-old daughter had been struggling with depression and mental illness before the alleged incidents took place. So if we're to ask what would lead a mother to do this to her own children, stab to death her 4-year-old daughter Sana Akram, and allegedly attempted to murder her 10-year-old son, the motive or rather reason seems to be mental illness, severe mental illness. She was struggling, perhaps she was struggling with depression, and I guess it's fair to say that for one reason or another she snapped, she entered a psychotic episode. By the way, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just me speaking as a layman. I'm not trying to pretend that I understand these things in detail, I really don't, but that's my take on it. According to the family friend, she was showing signs of depression, signs of mental health issues. She wasn't sleeping, and seemingly during this period of time where she's suffering from depression or such, she entered into a psychotic episode which led her to take the life of her own daughter, Sana Akram, and tried to take the life of her 10-year-old son. Is there anything we can learn from this? Well, I guess we can learn that we do need to be particularly vigilant of those people around us, family, friends, neighbours, that do seem to be suffering from mental health issues of one kind or another. Wouldn't it be great if society was such that it was always possible to reach out to get assistance, be that from family, friends, or a trained therapist, a trained psychologist, psychiatrist? And in addition to that, wouldn't it be great if we were able to get the treatment that we require, be that medication or whatever else? But having said that, again, as a layman, I'm not 100% convinced that medication is the right way forward. Certainly not in all cases. I think there's absolutely a degree of over-medication, but there is an argument to be able to recognize these issues a little bit better and to be able to act on them would help these situations. Perhaps if the family friend or other family members were to have sat down with Mina Nazari and asked her what's going on. You seem to be acting strange. You seem perhaps a little bit depressed. How can we help? Perhaps that would have alleviated things, but I'm spitballing. I don't know what I'm talking about. We don't know how much support Mina Nazari was provided with. Perhaps she was provided with a lot of support. So I don't wish to blame the family members, but I guess just to be a little bit mindful that there perhaps could be a little bit more education in regards to mental health and how we can go about treating it. But in any case, of course, full condolences to anyone touched by the tragedy. The murder of 4-year-old Sana Akram, I believe in Sacramento, California. Her body discovered by Sana's father. My heart reaches out to him, Fahim Akram. Can you imagine? He comes home and he discovers the bloody body of his 4-year-old daughter stabbed to death. He calls for medical assistance, which arrives, but tragically they weren't able to save Sana. The blessing here is that the 10-year-old boy is unharmed, but naturally he's going to be subject to all kinds of trauma his mother, killed his sister. That is what's alleged. Of course, a trial hasn't taken place as yet, but my interpretation is these kinds of articles are published only when the police are very, very confident that they have the correct suspect. I mean, I'll say this, it seems like a bit of an open and shut case to me. Perhaps Mina will plead guilty. Perhaps she'll be subject to a mental health evaluation. I'm sure she will be. Perhaps she'll be incarcerated in a mental health facility. And I would say that's perfectly fine if that's the case. If it's deemed that she's unsuited to be housed in a prison, better suited to be housed in a mental institution, mental health institution, which will have the right resources, the right access to medication, the right staff, the right level of security to protect her and other patients, I feel that's fully appropriate personally. I don't think the mental health institutions are a walk in the park. I don't think they're a leisure facility. I think there's adequate punishment within them. From my understanding, could be wrong, but either way, she needs to be locked up. When I read through these articles, sometimes I get extremely angry. Maybe not quite extremely, but certainly very angry. But in this case and cases like it, that anger is softened. For whatever reason, and I'm just spitballing again, you don't have to agree with me. In fact, if you disagree, please do tell me so in the comment section. But my feeling is that when a perpetrator is suffering mental illness, it softens my anger. My assumption is they're not in the right mind. During those parts of Mina's life, when she was in her right mind, perhaps she was a very nice person. We really don't know. I don't know. Having said that, the mentally ill still make a choice. She still chose to murder her daughter, to try to murder her son. Those are still acts of evil, no question. She wasn't in the right state of mind, but she still performed those actions. She still made those choices, and for that she needs to be punished. Society needs to know that people that commit these acts will be punished severely. So I do hope that that is the case. I've gone on a bit of a ramble, so I'll wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you're in a position to consider joining my memberships, please do. Perhaps you're able to drop us super thanks, but if you're not, that's perfectly fine. I'll thank you for your time. Take care.